Okay, so I got a request from a client recently about post session. What do you do post session? Now, typically, post session, when we work together, people experience a lot of emotions that come up after the session. Basically, what we do in the sessions is we stir up a lot of stuff. We start to feel things, we start to kind of get reconnected to the parts of the body that have been disconnected. And so, typically, after the session, there can be a lot of stuff that is like a bit of a, what would you say, it's like a kind of a lag as your body begins to process things, and as your body starts to kind of move stuff through that's maybe been stuck there for a while in the field. So it's not uncommon at all for people to have emotions come up after the session. So what I thought I would do today is make a little video that can help just move some of that energy through, just move some of the feelings through, so you don't get kind of stuck worrying and tense around the feelings that have come up post session. So for that, we'll use tapping. We'll go with the kind of the standard tapping protocol. If you're new to tapping, you can go and check some of the other videos, and there's so much information online about tapping. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with tapping, I'll give you a quick run through the points. Karate chop point, either hand, that's where we start. Then we move to the beginning of the eyebrow, just here, side of the eye, just around the temples, under the eye, under the nose, on the chin, collarbone, around here, all the way around here. It's very forgiving. You don't have to be exactly precise with it. Under both arms like this, just below the armpit, kind of around the rib cage, on both of your liver points for both of your livers, wrist, and then top of the head like this. It's a very forgiving technique. You don't have to get it exactly right. Better to do it bilaterally. There's a lot of information on bilateral stimulation and how this is actually helping activate this parasympathetic relaxing opening response. So if you can do bilateral tapping, that's better. I think if it's just one-handed, that's also fine. You're still getting a similar effect. Okay, so let's begin with tapping on the karate chop point and inhaling up the back, straightening the spine, relaxing down the front, relaxing the core, and just finding and settling into the body's natural balance, seeing if you can notice where you feel slightly out of balance, slightly off kilter, and just adjusting course within the body. And then you can repeat after me, either in your head or out loud. Usually works a little bit better. Even though I'm having all these emotions, and feeling all these really deep feelings, and it's very difficult for me to feel compassion for myself while I'm having this experience. I'm going to do exactly what I can right now to inhale as deeply as I can, and exhale, relax, let go, and accept where I am right now. Even though I'm having all of these emotions and they feel really difficult, it's really hard for me to like myself while I'm feeling this way. It's really hard for me to soften to myself while I'm having this experience. It's really hard for me to feel love for what I'm going through. Nevertheless, I'm going to do my best to accept myself as I am right now, with the experience that I'm having, even if it's imperfect. Even though I'm having these adverse emotional reactions, I really didn't want to feel this way. And it feels really difficult. It's really hard for me to feel warm towards myself while having this experience. I'm going to do as best as I can to accept where I am in this moment and relax around this experience as much as I'm able. Go to beginning of the eyebrow, we'll go bilateral tapping. I'm having a lot of feelings, having a lot of really difficult feelings. I didn't expect it to be like this. I wanted it to feel different. It's really hard for me to feel these feelings. My body feels all tight. My nervous system's having a reaction. I don't like feeling these feelings. I don't want to feel these feelings. I really don't want to feel this way. I feel so angry towards myself. And I feel so ashamed of feeling this way. Take a breath at any time that it feels appropriate to you. And I really don't like the way that this feels. It feels too much. These feelings are unacceptable. These feelings are dangerous. And I have no love for myself with these feelings. It's impossible for me to love myself with these feelings. I've never been taught how. I was taught the opposite. I was told that it's unacceptable to feel this way. That I shouldn't be feeling this way. That it's dangerous to feel this way. That if I feel this way, nobody can love me. Nobody will love me. And that source of love that I depend on from my parents or caregivers is not going to be there if I feel this way. Inviting in any yawning. It's always a nice way to rebalance energies in the body. So I cut myself off from this feeling. I'm withholding love and compassion from this feeling. That's one way I learned how to survive. I'll only present the acceptable feelings. And I will hide, dissociate, and disconnect from everything else. just carry that in me. Until it starts to come up. Which feels like it might be now. I guess you can't push feelings down forever. They're always going to surface in some way. In some adaptive behavior. But I'm willing to be open to the idea that things have now changed. The situation is completely different. And maybe I don't need to rely on the same sources of love. As I did when I was a child. And even though my brain and my nervous system have very much patterned themselves around hiding these feelings, now that I'm a little bit older, I'm beginning to see that it's not healthy. To keep hiding from these feelings. And that actually I need to feel these feelings. As feedback from the body. And it's okay that I feel these feelings. So I can get the feedback from the body. And I can regulate myself with these feelings. And that doesn't mean control or manipulate. But it means self-soothe. It means be present with. It means recognizing where I am. In this present moment. And realizing that it's safe. It might not be comfortable. But at least it's safe now. And this might take some time for my brain and nervous system to understand. And that's okay. As they're ready. There's no rush. I might be willing to commit. To the idea that I don't need to force myself. To do anything anymore. Because if I become aware that forcing myself to do anything while being disconnected from my feelings, meaning I'm disconnected from my needs, actually destroys the relationship I have with myself. It damages it further. Which only serves to further entrench the behavior. And so maybe instead I could commit to building the relationship with myself. One based on trust. One based on compassion. One based on understanding. One based on attentiveness. Attention to needs. And responsibility to meet them. That might start to feel better. That sounds like a relationship I would like to have. And so I might be willing to give that a try. Expanding myself outwards. Loosening my grip on the situation. And allowing a little bit more softness. And developing and conditioning a little bit more understanding. That I'm just having a human experience. And everybody has needs. And I'm no different. And right now, my need is for compassion. And I don't want to make this situation any worse than it needs to be. By withholding love and compassion from myself. That's the choice I have. And I'm willing to choose for myself. To be my own source of love. My own source of approval. My own source of affection. My own source of compassion. And maybe that might help other people around me. Particularly those who I have an influence over, understand that this is how a person could treat themselves. With this kind of care. And that might make life really great. So hand on the heart, finding the sweet spot for you wherever that is. Breathing in, up the back. Relaxing, letting it all go. Breathing in again. And holding the breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relaxing down the front, letting it all go. Holding the breath at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale. Relaxing, letting it all go. Breathing up the back, down the front, relaxing the core. Hopefully that was helpful. Take a few moments then to maybe reflect on the experience. Maybe you can do a little bit of writing about it if there's anything that came up for you. Anything that you noticed about the ways that you treat yourself when you feel under pressure, or the ways that you treat yourself when you feel you're having an emotional experience. Do you make it about you? Does it have something particularly important to tell you about you as a person? Or is it just some feelings? You know, is it just part of the strings and waves of feelings that we all experience as people? I remember somebody imparting on me a while ago, it's like you don't necessarily control the waves, but how well you surf them is up to you. And that's really held up in my experience. It's like sometimes you just feel the way that you feel. And what's more important is how you show up for yourself when you're feeling that way, rather than trying to, you know, you can notice this, like, are you trying to change? Are you trying to manipulate? Are you trying to reject and push away this part of yourself that is asking to be pulled closer and asking to be brought in and asking for integration? Because that distance, that rejection, that creates the strain and the struggle, which ultimately leads to more suffering, which is rubbish, because we all know that. So thanks for watching. If you have any ideas or anything else that you would like me to cover in any of these videos, I'm willing to take suggestions and then go with a little tap along, and we'll see how that all works out. So have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you soon.